4 things I wish I knew before moving to the USA. My friends, I'm super excited for this one. I really wonder what those things are, but before I go into that, let me ask you for one thing. If you can leave a like, thank you so much. It's the best way to show support. Now, if you can subscribe, well, in that case, forget about it. You make my day. Have that in consideration. Link for the original video in my description, and let's play it.
In all honesty, it is so different from what I thought it was going to be.
Oh
Hi
boy.
guys, and welcome back.
Okay, we start well. Is that different?
Today we're going to be talking about the things I wish I knew before moving to the United States. So for a little bit of context, in case you didn't know, I am a Canadian who is living in the United States. I moved here about 10 months ago now for university. We often talk about the similarities between the United States and Canada, and there definitely are a lot of those, but there are also a lot of differences, particularly between Canada and the American South, like Texas, where I live right now. And I think
This is a great point, because Canada is probably quite more similar to places like North Dakota, Montana, than of course the South. This makes a lot of sense. Oh man, this will be interesting.
I think that that's definitely something that I underestimated, the amount of differences that there are. And now that I've been here for a little while and I'm able to reflect on it, I feel comfortable talking about the things that I wish that I knew right off the bat.
Okay,
I
like
wish
what?
that I knew about all of the different clubs and organizations and meetup groups that are specifically for meeting new people. Homesickness is totally a thing, even if you're moving to a place that is quite similar to what you're used to. For example, Canada and the United States, you're still getting rid of all your stuff, moving to a new place where you don't have any friends, where you don't have a community yet, and you don't know anybody. You're going to have that home.
And you know what's crazy? She's saying this, and Americans are super welcome. Other countries, this will be even worse. And in America, I think Americans are such nice people and welcome people. This is really interesting.
Sickness, and you're going to start comparing the place that you live now to the place that you left behind, and it may not happen right away. For some people it happens 3 months down the road or even a year down the road. I know for me it's been like a delayed reaction. I was very sad right when I left. Even though I was so excited to be moving to a new place, I was still so sad to be leaving everything that I had ever known behind. I had a support system here, but oftentimes we don't when we go to a new place. I wish that I knew about these different clubs and organizations right in the beginning so that I could have...
So when she says clubs, organizations, there is actually clubs for new people in the country, stuff like that. That's awesome.
Made new friends and had that support system with new friends right in the beginning. I also wish that I knew how competitive the job market is here in the United States before moving here, because I feel like I'm kind of delayed in learning that. So the
Honestly, not the first time I see people talking about this, that specific even more Europeans, when they go to America, they feel like working there is quite more competitive, you know. I know this is probably about jobs and stuff like that, but I think that the same idea goes. Americans are super competitive when it comes to work.
Population in the United States is a lot higher than it is in
Sorry.
market is here in the United States before moving here, because I feel like I'm kind of delayed in learning that. So the population in the United States is a lot higher than it is in Canada. So the competition for jobs is...
You know, that's crazy, because Canada is also so big, but is like 10 times smaller than America. How crazy is that?
a lot higher, and it starts a lot younger. You can see that even just in elementary schools or high schools. You have kids who are involved in all of these competitive programs, and their parents will put so much time and so much money into their child being the best that they can possibly be in that thing in order to get a scholarship, to go to a good university, to get a good job. It's like everyone is competing so hardcore. And of course there's still competition in Canada. It's just not as intense, I find, as what it is in the United States. So that was a little bit...
Honestly, I think this is a take that I've been having for a long time. But I think America being the number one country in the world is something that, even if you guys don't notice, makes you guys compete a lot, you know, because we look at them, and even you guys, you might not think this in a daily basis, I assume, but being the example of the world, you know what I'm trying to say? I think that's quite different. If you live in a country that let's say it's a country that is not doing very well. You may, whatever. I'm also not doing very well. But I mean, we are talking about America, number one, baby.
Surprising for me to see, we're on day one of my master's program and everyone is already fighting for jobs. For me, I don't feel qualified on day one. Like, I want to wait at least one semester before I start looking into companies. And I just felt really bombarded by guidance counselors and other people that I knew just pressuring me of what companies I'm talking to and where I'm putting in my resume. But once I kind of realized that the competition is like that, I can kind of navigate it in a way that feels comfortable for me. Cultural differences and word differences is another thing that I wish I knew before I moved to the United States. There are some things.
Wait, I don't get that point. Sorry. I have to pay attention, my friends. This is very important.
I can kind of navigate it in a way that feels comfortable for me. Cultural differences and word differences is another thing that I wish I knew before I moved to the United States.
Cultural difference and she said water or clothes. I'm a bit lost here.
There are some things that I did already know. Like, I knew that Canadian English and American English is a little bit different. We spell some things differently. And I obviously knew that, Americans celebrate different holidays than we do and stuff like that. But there are some things still that I didn't realize until much later that took me by surprise. And I actually had some embarrassing moments.
Like what?
Specifically because I didn't know about certain cultural norms. So I did make a video about the differences in university between Canada and America. I'm going to link it up here for you guys. But I'll mention one of the things in that video because it's kind of funny and also very embarrassing for me. So in the American South, it is considered polite to call someone ma'am or sir, especially if they're a higher authority figure, or if they're older than you. It's just a respect thing. Whereas in Ontario, where I'm from, if you call someone ma'am, it's insulting because they assume that you're calling them old. So nobody really says it there, and everybody here says ma'am and sir, and they address their teacher formally, which I'm not used to because in university in Canada, we called our teachers by their first name. Like, day one, that's just what the norm is in Canada. And in here, that is a big no-no. You don't do that in the United States unless they specifically tell you to do so. So I had some embarrassing moments right in the beginning, and I feel like I started some relationships on not the best note, and that's definitely something that I wish I had known before moving here to just spare myself that awful embarrassment. Also, for the
honestly, should I? Okay, this is a bit tricky to me because I also don't know how to be polite that well in English. Not because I don't want to be, because I want to be. It's just the English, it's kind of difficult. So for men, saying sir, gentleman. Gentleman is going a bit too far, my friends. Gentleman is going a bit too far. No, I like to say gentleman, but sir and gentleman I think are okay, right? For a lady, could be how you say it. So we are going a bit back. Sorry.
Their teacher formally, especially if they're a higher authority figure, or if they're older than you. It's just a respect thing. Whereas in Ontario, where I'm from, if you call someone ma'am,
oh, that sounds really tough to say, actually. But calling a woman lady is offensive, or is going a bit too far. Or is because when you say to a man gentleman, I don't think is that bad, right? But for a lady, maybe. My friends, help me in the comments on this.
It's definitely something that I wish I had known before moving here.
What about madame? No, madame is going too far.
To just spare myself that awful embarrassment. Also, for the longest time, I had my laptop set to Canadian English.
But isn't you can say Miss. Wait, give me a second, my friends. ChatGPT, we are going to clarify this. This cannot longer. I cannot have this out in my mind. How to polite talk with people in America. Examples for women and men. All right, my friends. Okay. Use please and thank you. Oh my. Okay. 1 second, my friends. Mr. or Miss. Okay. This one I knew, but I seems like in the south is a bit different. Okay. It's actually Mr. and Miss, right? Is and say thank you and please. Okay, not that difficult.
And I didn't even know that it was an option to be able to change it to American English, so I was misspelling every
Wait, I think I ended up putting this a bit ahead, sorry.
known before moving here to just spare myself that awful embarrassment. Also, for the longest time, I had my laptop set to Canadian English, and I didn't even know that it was an option to be able to change it to American English, so I was misspelling everything for the longest time. I wish that I knew that. You can actually change your keyboard to a different language, so if you haven't done that already, definitely do that. The last thing that I really wish I knew before moving to the United States is politics. I couldn't do a video about the United States without talking about politics. Before moving here, I did not know anything about American politics, apart from, you know, the obvious stuff that everybody hears about. But I find that here in the United States, people are better versed in politics than what the average Canadian is in their own.
Oh, but this is true. You guys are really into politics. No matter what side you are, I feel like in Europe, we don't care as much as you guys do. And this is a good thing for you, my friends. I'm not saying this is bad, because at the end of the day, you need to choose who runs your country, of course, and make smart decisions, be informed, and be involved with politics is something that you have to care nowadays, because it's super important. But in Europe, I think we should improve on this.
Politics. So a lot of Americans, they know what's going on. They know the people who are running. They know what's happening, whereas I feel like in Canada so often we don't follow it. I mean, obviously there are people who do, but in general, I would say we don't know a whole lot about it. And here in the United States, particularly in the South, everybody has an opinion and everybody knows what's going on. So I feel like there were a lot of conversations that I wasn't able to participate in because I just didn't know anything about it, and I had to really...
Wait, but talking about politics is normal in America? I thought this is something that you guys try to avoid.
Educate myself, because...
Well, but talking politics with a Canadian or a European is probably extra weird, right?
Even though I'm just a student who's temporarily living in the United States, everything that's going on is affecting me. You know, I'm not able to vote, but I'm still able to follow it and keep up with it because everything is affecting me if I'm living here. And that's one thing that I didn't know anything about American politics before moving here, and I kind of wish that I did, just so I wasn't left out and like thrown into a lurch and had to do a whole bunch of research, which is basically what I've had to do. All right, and there you go. Those are a few of the things that I wish I knew before I moved to the US.
So this is super interesting. I think being aware of the American politics is important because they run the world. So I agree with that on this. I'm thinking about going to America next year, but honestly, Trump won, right? But I don't think it matters if Trump won or Kamala won. I'm not getting deported, right? I'm going as a tourist. I think I'm fine. Please tell me. No, I'm joking a bit, my friends. I know I will be fine. But I agree with that in the last point.
United States. There are probably others, but those are the ones that I can think of right now. If you are somebody who has moved to the United States, then let me know if any of these things are similar in your experience, or if you have any new ones. If you are interested in moving to the United States, or you're going to be moving to the United States, I would love to hear about that as well, because we expats have got to stick together in our learning experience here, moving to a new country. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, and follow me on TikTok.
My friends, show her all the support. I leave the link for the original video in my description. This was really interesting. A lot of the points she made, I thought the other videos tend to not mention. And yeah, I mean, overall, sometimes I disagree a lot with this type of videos, but this one, I tend to agree with most things. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this with me, my friends. Really means a lot. You guys end up staying until the end. See you guys in the next one.